Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine. So after seeing the first four questions, the fifth and sixth question, the final two questions, they are now asked. Ko dharmaḥ sarvadharmāṇāṃ bhavataḥ paramo mataḥ kim japanmucyate jantuh janmasaṃsārabandhanāt. Ko dharmaḥ sarvadharmāṇāṃ bhavataḥ paramo mataḥ kim japanmucyate jantuh janmasaṃsārabandhanāt. So what is he asking? Sarvadharmāṇāṃ bhavataḥ sarvadharmāṇāṃ ko paramo dharmaḥ mataḥ. Among all the dharmas, what do you accept to be the supreme, the greatest dharma? No. Next is, that's fifth question. Sixth question is, kim japanmucyate jantu? Chanting which the beings, jantu means generally any living being. So chanting which any living being can gain liberation from the bondage of the samsara and birth. Okay, that is the sixth question, final question. Now bhashya. Ko dharma. What is the dharma? But what is dharma? Purokta lakshana. We have already said that. The aforesaid definition of dharma. What did we see? Dharma. What does dharma? Abhyudaya nishreyasa hetu bhutan chodana lakshana. We defined and we gave the pramana also. Okay. Now, or chodana lakshana artho dharma. With that we defined that dharma. Okay. Sarvadharmāṇāṃ, sarvesham dharmāṇāṃ madhye, among all the other dharmas. Bhavataḥ, paramaḥ, prakrishta dharmaḥ, mataḥ, abhipreta iti. Panchamaḥ prashnaḥ. What is that you accept to be the supreme dharma, the greatest dharma? Why do you have to ask the question? Because we practice different dharmas. Dharma generally may be translated as duty. Now you have the dharma as a father, as a son, as a brother, younger brother, as an elder brother, as a uncle, as whatever. So different circumstances, as a worker, as a owner, etc. We have different dharmas according to different situations. So among these dharmas, among these duties, which is the supreme duty? That is the question. Fifth question. Kim Japan. Kim. Kim means what? Kim means what? What are we asking? Daivatam, we have already asked that. Parayanam, we have already asked that also. What is the question here? Japyam. What is that which needs to be chanted? Done japa of. Meaning, what is japa? Many people don't even know what japa is. He says japam. Japam means uccha upamshu manasa lakshanam japam kurban. Japam is of three types. Uccha, upamshu, manasa. Simply said, uccha, higher, louder. Upamshu, softer. Manasa, mental. Okay. This is, we will see the definition, explanation for each of them in detail later. Now, this is the, so louder, softer, and in the mind. This is the three modes of chanting. Doing that, jantu. Jantu means janana dharmaha, the whatever is born. Whatever is born. Earlier he said manavaha means manusuta, the beings that is created by the Manu, the creator. Now here jantu, all the living beings that which has the ability to be born. Anena jantu shabdena japa archana stavanadishu yatha yogyam sarvapranināṃ adhikaram suchayati. With this word jantu, as applicable wherever needs to be, as applicable, we say the definition. Yatha yogyam, whatever applicable, wherever applicable, the Praninam adhikaram. The eligibility of the beings is specific. What does it mean? See, we said any living being is eligible for stuti, extolling, praising, calling for help. But not all the living beings are eligible for archana, worship, because that needs a methodology. Internal, external worship, that needs a methodology that not all beings can comprehend. So it is not for everyone. Similarly, here also, not everything is for everyone. Some people can perform something, some people cannot perform something else. Okay? So according to them, according to their eligibility, we'll see that also. Janmasaṃsārabandhanāt. Janma samsara bandhanāt. Birth, samsara, bondage. From the birth, samsara, bondage. What is samsara? Samsara is a cycle of birth and death. What is said here? Birth, samsara. What does that mean actually? When you say samsara, janma is there, marana is also there. That is the cycle of birth and death. Now, why he has to split janmasaṃsārabandhanāt? Why do you have to say janma and samsara? He says janma means ajnana vijrambitānaṃ avidyāgāryanam upalakshanam. Janma means it is a pointer to whatever manifests because of the ignorance. Meaning the avidya's effect, the ignorance effect. That is what is called as janma. Samsara means avidya, simply put avidya, ignorance. So we can understand this as avidya is samsara, samsara is avidya, janma is avidya karya. Okay? Or samsara is avarana, janma is vikshepa. Okay? So that is how we have to understand. Now, tabhyam janma samsarabhyam. By that, both of them means janma and samsara. By both of them, what happens? Bandhet bandhanam tasmat. Whatever is the bondage, from that bondage. So he is asking for a way out from the whatever chanting which you will find a way out from the bondage of samsara and birth. Meaning the ignorance and its effect. Mucyate, mukto bhavati, he becomes liberated. Iti sashta prashna. That's the sixth question. So we have 6 questions. 6 questions are first question is Daivatam, what is the God? And second question is Parayanam, what is the supreme abode? Okay. Third question is Stuti, extolling, praising, eulogizing. Fourth question is archanam, worship. Fifth question is paramo dharmaḥ, supreme dharma. Sixth question is japam. Okay, so 6 questions are asked here. Mucyate janmasaṃsārabandhanāt iti idam upalakshanam itaresham phalanam. So what is the result? He says liberation from what? One becomes liberated. Liberated from what? Liberated from samsara and bondage. He says, muktaha, mucyate, he becomes liberated from janma samsara bandhana. That is the result. Right? So, by saying that he becomes liberated from the cycle of birth and death, samsara and bandhana, if you say, chanting this Sahasranama will produce the result of liberation from ignorance and its effect. That's all. Not anything else. When the result is specifically said, you should not imagine another result. Phalavatte sati kalpana anyayatvat. Phalakalpana anyayatvat something. So, when the result is specifically said, imagining another result is not logical. Though there is that logic, still here we have to understand it is a pointer to the other results also. Because later he is going to say, Rogarti mucyate rogat. A person with disease will get relieved from the disease, etc. He is going to say all that. Therefore, this is a pointer to the other results. Etad grahanam tu mokshasya pradhanyakhyapanaर्थं. Then why is he asking, saying this? This is the question. Why is he asking this as the question? He should generally say from everything. Instead of saying everything, he is saying only specifically the fourth result. That is fourth human pursuit. That is because it is the important one in your life. That is why he is asking that question. Okay, we'll see the meaning, inner meaning. Mataḥ. Mataḥ, we said some mataḥ. That is accepted by you. But what is this word mataḥ? Mataḥ stems from the root word manu avabodhane. To it we add a kta and tasya cha vartamane. So the kta is in present tense. So what happens is mata means manu avabodhane. That's the root. Simply said, manu avabodhane means to know. So what is that you know as the supreme dharma? That is the question. Okay, now what is that you understand to be the sixth question is chanting which you gain liberated from the cycle of samsara and the bondage. That's this question. Now here he said uccha upamshu and manasa. What is the definition for them? It is said in 3 shlokas. Yachabdo bodh jananah paresham shrunvatam sputam swadhyayavachikah proktah upamshur atha lakshanam oshtayospandamatrena parasya shabdabodhakah upamshuresha nirdishtah sahasrovachika japat yetpadakshara sangatya parispandanavarjitam chintanam sarvadharmāṇāṃ mānasam tam japam viduhu yadu shabdah bodha jananah paresham shrunvatam sputam swadhyayavachikah proktah upamsho atha lakshanam oshtayoho spandamatrena parasya ashabdabodhakah upamshu resha nirdishtah sahasro vachika japat yat pada akshara sangatya parispandanavarjitam chintanam sarvashabdhanam manasam tu tam japam viduhu. Okay. Yad shabda bodha jananah paresham shrunvatam. Yad shabdah shrunvatam paresham sputam bodha jananah. That which word, then others hear that, listen to it, they gain a clear idea. And that is also called a swadhyaya. Okay, meaning I am chanting Agnimele Purohitam. When I am chanting Agnimele Purohitam, Agnimele, that's a meter. You have to chant it using these swaras, the intonations. How, where you have to raise and where you have to go dirgha, etc. Okay, you have to chant it with all that. Now, if I am going to sit and chant Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, somebody who comes there, they'll see, oh, wait, he's chanting Namah Shiva mantra. Let us wait. How do you know he's chanting Shiva mantra? He's saying Om Namah Shivaya, very clear. So, when the other persons hear that, he will understand what you are doing. When somebody understands what you are doing, that is called as the uccha, higher, louder. Okay. Now, what is upamshu? So, instead of nicha, uccha, nicha. Uccha means higher, nicha means lower. Instead of saying lower, he is saying upamshu, softer. What does that mean? Upamshu ratha lakshanam. The definition for upamshu is oshtoyoho spandamatrena. Parasya ashabdabodhaka upamshu resha nirdishta. Oshtayoho spandamatrena. Spanda means a vibration. Of what? Oshta. When the lips just move. You are not saying the words explicitly to be heard by another. That is why parasya ashabda bodhakaha. Even if somebody comes closer to you and hears that, he will not be able to hear what you are saying. That is what is a upamshu. Okay. Now, there is a difference between ucha and upamshu. When you are going to do ucha, you have to use all the intonations. When you are chanting Vedas, it is said, Agnime ele purohitam. If I am going to chant this mantra, I have to say Agnimi ele, that I have to say. But if I am going to do upamshu, softer, then I don't have to use any intonations. There is no need for chanting the swara. Like just recently, the full moon day that went is called as Shravana Purnima in the north, the full moon day of Shravana month. And in south, it is called as Avani Avitam, meaning the day they change the sacred thread. Yearly once they do. In between, they do it, but yearly once, that's a compulsory thing. Okay, they change it and they start the Vedas chanting. Now, next day to that is a Gayatri Japa day. The day they chant the Gayatri mantra. People who are initiated, they will chant Gayatri mantra. So, that day when you are chanting Gayatri mantra, as it is a part of Veda mantra, it has intonations. But when you are chanting on the day of Gayatri mantra, the Gayatri chanting, when you are doing it as japa, you don't have to use the intonations. But if you are doing it as a practice, you have studied, you have just learned how to chant. You are coming by bus. You cannot chant Agnamele, then the people will be like, what is he doing? So you have to chant to practice it. There you have to use all the intonations because you are practicing the chanting. Here, when you are doing it for japa, as upamshu, you don't need to follow the intonations. That is the rule. Okay. Now, there is another specialty for this upamsha. Sahasro vachika japa. It is 1,000 times better than the louder. Upamshu is 1,000 times better than the louder. But whenever you see the family person, the grahastha, go to a temple or something, they'll be like, Om Namah Shivaya, Govinda, Govinda. They will be shouting loudly. It is not to call the Lord. There is no devotion there. It is just to show how great devotee I am. Just for that. Without knowing that if you are going to chant silently without disturbing others, you are going to gain 1,000 times more result than what you are going to gain by shouting. But they don't want that result. Okay. Then third is manasa. Yeda akshara sangatya parispandamarjitam chintanam. Sarva shabdanam pada akshara sangatya chintanam. Parispandana varjitam chintanam. Meditating on all the words and characters of a mantra without moving. Neither your body nor your lips move. You are chanting in your mind. Chanting what? Focusing on not the meaning of the mantra, focusing on the words and the characters of the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. I am not going. Om means Namaha means Prabhibhava, to be very devoted. All that is not the idea here. We are talking only about meditating on the characters and the words of the syllables of the mantra. Okay, that is a mental. This 1,000 times better than the upamshu. Okay, now jantuhu, any living being, he is saying. Now, for the yagas, there is a particular, not all person Just because one is a Brahmin, he has studied the Vedas, he knows how to perform the karmas, does not mean he can perform all the karmas. There are limitations. There is a karma. Raja Raja Suyena Ejeta. Raja should perform the Raja, a Kshatriya, a Kshatriya king should perform the Rajasuya Yaga. Okay. Only a king who is a Kshatriya can perform the Rajasuya Yaga. Now there is a Nishadastapati Yaga. Nishadastapati means a head among the forest dwellers. Oh, they are also given the rights for studying Vedas? No, they are not given the rights to study Vedas. Then what? They are given the rights to study that portion of the Vedas. That portion of the Vedas also means not to study. While the Brahmin Pandit chants, this person, this king among the tribes, he will be repeating it. That's all. He doesn't need to memorize it or to understand it. Like today's karmas. See, in today's world, the karmas are performed by the Brahmin, and they are asked, the people who are performing the karmas, who have invited the Brahmin to perform the karmas for them, they will have to repeat the mantras. Like whether it is marriage or the sacred ceremony initiation or the final ancestral celebrations, whatever that is. The Brahmin Pandit chants and these fellows have to repeat. Now that also not many Brahmins, even the Brahmins, not many know how to pronounce it properly. He will say Agnimile, this fellow will be Animile. He says Agnimile and you are saying Animile. That also is okay, at least. He is at least trying to reproduce the sound. But there will be somewhere. Like they will be like a doing the acting of pronouncing, but instead hiing and helloing everyone who is coming. Hi, go and eat, kind of, without even concentrating on the mantras. What kind of result will you get? So there are different eligibility for different karmas there, but here no. That is why he says jantu. Then everyone is eligible. Now here he is bringing Stri Shudranam. Stri Shudrayostu na adhikara. Stri and Shudra, the Shudra caste and the women, they are not eligible to chant. Now, majority of the people who chant Vishnu Sahasranama, apart from Lalita Sahasranama, not people don't know Sahasranama, so forget about that. The Shaktas, those who chant the Lalita Sahasranama, and the Vaishnavas who chant Vishnu Sahasranama, among them, the majority of them are women. The Vaishnavas, though, accept this as a very sacred mantra, therefore it needs to be initiated by a guru. Without initiation, you should not accept chant. And it should be chanted only by men, not women. But because he is saying this, because in 123, Bhagavan Bhashyakara states this. He is quoting something and we'll see that there. So here they are not eligible. But we see Jantu, every living being, according to their eligibility they can do. So if we can do the chanting, we can do. We are eligible for that. Okay. Now, janturjanmasaṃsārabandhanāt. Samsara means birth and death, cycle of birth and death. There is already birth in that. Now, why do you have to separate the birth and samsara? So, birth here refers to the karyas, the effect of ignorance. We already said the vikshepa. And samsara means the avarana portion. And what we refer to is, what is samsara, what is avidya? Avidya is the identification of self with non-self and non-self with self. We saw this. Did we see this? Yes, of course, sir. Tasmin drushte paravare. There, bhidyate hrudaya granthi. The knots of the heart are not of the heart is the superimposition of self on non-self and non-self in self. or the consciousness on inert on consciousness. Okay, or the attributed on non-attributed and non-attributed on attributed. Dharma. Or attributed on attributes and attributes on attributed. So these kind of superimposition, any which way, they are all same. So these kind of superimpositions are referred to as samsara. But here, only moksha is said as the result. When the result is said, you should not imagine another result. So for that he say, no. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Yava narthaudapane sarvata sampludodake. Whatever result, whatever prayojana, whatever end result, whatever use you can put a pot of water, different pots of water to, they can all be done in the reservoir. Like this pot is for drinking, that bucket, that water is for washing, that bucket is for taking bath, and that bucket is for washing the vessels. You can have different buckets of vessels of water. But a reservoir, you can drink that water, you can take bath, you can wash your clothes, you can do anything with that water, right? So, like that, here also, every living being is running behind that happiness without knowing what will give us happiness. So, the final happiness is moksha, liberation. So, by saying that, everything else is included here. By saying, why? Because if the important one is said, the others are as well said. We don't have to specify all those other things. We are not imagining it, because later in this very text, as a falashruti, as the result explanation, he is saying all those results. So we have to understand all the, but the primary result, this is what everyone is interested in. So that primary result, that's supreme goal. That is what he is asking. Okay, we'll see this. Om Purnamadaః Purnamidam Purnāt Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.